All right. Do we have any sound yet? Now we're good. All right. Do we have any sound yet? Yay. Okay. Let me turn this down. There we go. All right. Wow. Okay. Now I know I'm better. Sorry about that. This stupid laptop. I still haven't replaced it. I'm being chintzy. So, as you know, I've got it folded about half in there. Boy, Rob's got an app for that. Yeah. In fact, I do. Thank goodness I have just enough technology sense to be able to use my phone to get things back. That's a great start. Texas Roadrunners here. Hey, bud, good to see you. Give us the middle finger. No, I'm not going to give anybody the middle finger. This is a family friendly live stream podcast. Oh, by the way, Mrs. West, if your husband is in there, hey Oliver, if your husband is in there, let him know that apparently the message I sent him a little while ago, I actually forgot to hit the send on, and so that's um, why he hadn't got the message already. And now, of course, I'm afraid to touch my computer, but we'll figure it out. So, if he's interested, let him know. Hey, Sid's dad, and I still plan to call you this week. I hadn't forgot. I thought about it this afternoon, but one of my grain elevators blew up one of their starters, and so I had to deal with that. We might give just a couple more minutes for people to get in here. I know Steve over at Corsair Trainers always gives about 10 minutes before he gets into the meat and potatoes of his different reasons, I think. But the main gist of it is today I got a notice from a friend about some things going on in the world of food storage and preparation and that kind of thing. I'm going to see if I can make an adjustment here without losing everything. I'm almost afraid to touch anything. Once it gets working, you hate to let that happen. Okay, looking at my phone, it says we're still going. Nothing but professional here, 100%, 100%. But a lot of y'all know my buddy Reese. He sent me a message today talking about a couple of things, and at one point I knew how to put something. I've got a thing over here that I was wanting to put on the screen, and I'm not sure if I'm going to know how to do that. When I did that live stream with Bob Hansler, I was real good at it. I figured out a way to add things and put stuff on there. But now I'm not so sure that I know how to do that anymore. There was a spot where I could add, and I just am not going to know where it is this time. So I may not mess with it. But that's how that goes, isn't it? So yeah, that is aggravating that I can't figure out how to do that. Camera general, got the thing on here. Like I say, nothing but professionalism. Anyway, I'll read it to you. It'll be just as well. I'm going to push a button here. Let's see what this does. Oh, no. I just went full screen. Didn't want to do that. There we go. Check that back again. All right. Well, anyway, like I say, welcome everybody. I'm glad you're all here. This will just this is just kind of a heads up, sort of a kind of a heads up podcast, streamcast, whatever. That check here. No, I didn't hear anything from Wes. So go back to that. Go here. And all right. There we go. A buddy of mine. Hey, LG, how are you doing? Good to see you. This will be something that Liberty Garden you'll be particularly interested in, and you're probably already up on it, would be my guess. But apparently, the Russians and the Chinese have decided to maybe try to starve us out, maybe, whether that's their intention or whether it just might work that way. That was my first guess, is that they were going to starve us out. They are holding out on some fertilizer shipments here. You know what? I wonder if I can do this. If I can type this in the comments, and then let's see. Yes. Now it probably won't let me because there's probably too much words. It sort of did. Okay, let's see now. Oh no, here, this is what I want to do. Right there. There we go. The news thing I found that they are withholding certain elements of fertilizer components that we use to make fertilizer with. Now, oddly enough, I'm doing a big job at a fertilizer plant here. And the good news is that they are well stocked up. They have a ton of stuff. All of their bins are completely full right now. So at least right now, it's not going to be too much of a problem. Later on, though, it could be. One thing that's an issue is the price is horribly high right now on fertilizer. I mean, horribly high, way more than farmers are used to paying. And that's going to put a crimp on what they can do. Now, fertilizer may seem like a minor thing, but most fields are cultivated and have been used for so long that they have to augment the nutrients in the ground in order to be able to get the crops to grow efficiently and effectively. Probably there's enough nutrients right now left over from the last time they fertilized that they would be okay and could raise at least a halfway decent crop, maybe this year, assuming everything else was right. But you get 2 or 3 other things that go wrong, and then there could be problems with that. Now, I mentioned that it seemed like that the Chinese and the Russians were wanting to starve us out. However, yes, unless Biden freezes us out first, correct. However, they might just be doing it to protect themselves because they're aware of potential shortages that might be coming anyway, and they're just trying to take care of themselves. So it might not be as nefarious as it first seems, but it certainly indicates that if, and I'm pretty sure everybody on here that's here right now in the chat has built up their food supplies, has things stored, and is kind of ready for that sort of thing. But for anybody you know that might not have, this might give them an extra incentive, but more of a reality on it, I guess, if you want to put it that way. That would make it more of an urgent, pressing type matter, perhaps. Now, is it going to be an emergency right away? Maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, you can already see at the grocery stores that food prices are higher, that contents of what am I trying to say? The amount you get for the same money or a little bit more money now, you're getting smaller portions, smaller packages of stuff. Yeah, man, probably good for one more season. Would be my guess. But who knows? For cornfield, that's a buffer. Now, LG brings up a good point. And that is, in fact, I'd mentioned it to my buddy, that with the potential of a food shortage, it sure makes me glad, being sarcastic, that so much of our grain crop, especially corn, goes into ethanol production. Like I told him, at least we still be able to drive to the store to see how empty the shelves are. So, for what that's worth. Blame him. Yeah, there we go. Oliver makes a good point there. Why supply the guy that's making you out to be the enemy? Now, maybe one of the few things about it, yeah, if the resident of the White House is making them out to be the enemy, and it seems like he is, for once in his life, he may be right. He may not be wrong about that. There is that chance. But still, you can't blame them for wanting to hold off on us. I mean, we're putting sanctions on other places right now, so it's not surprising that they're going to throw a couple of sanctions back on us, especially when you consider Vlad over there in Mother Russia. He's kind of got the upper hand right now. Pretty much all the other, our enemy, our adversarial type countries are all aware of our weak leadership that we have right now. They have to all realize that now is a great time to kind of strike at us, whether directly or indirectly. The resident, yes, exactly. It may not have been. My mouse is messing up a little bit, so it may not necessarily be what I thought it was. I bet I can kick a couple of things off here. In fact, I probably don't need that anymore. As far as the Russia and China thing holding out, it just type it into your search engine and you will see that that's a real thing. When I checked on it today, I found multiple entries across the internet that referred to that, them holding out stuff on us. So that's not trying to find the X here so I don't kill everything at the wrong time. Give me just a second here. There we go. Now I can get it. Bing, and then back to that. Okay, good. Hey, Maccabeus, how are you, brother? Good to see you. Well, to answer that question, what we do from here basically is keep on doing what we're probably already doing, and that is making sure that our long-term food needs are covered. You know, it almost seems crazy to even talk about such things, about food shortages. I mean, we've got so much food here in the country right now. I could never work at a cafe or a restaurant. The amount of food that people throw out and waste every day would make me insane. It would put me in a bad mood. I am not big on throwing out food. I should be bigger on throwing it out than I am. Y'all know kind of how I am about that. But the abundance that we have here right now is absolutely unprecedented in human history. The amount of food we have, hunger is just not a real thing. You know, you see lots of commercials, people talking about people being hungry and wanting to do that kind of thing. Hey, Mitchell, good to see you. The truth is, though, I don't know any hungry people, not truly hungry people. We truly live in a land of plenty, and most of the people that are advertising for hunger or feed the poor or feed the people that don't have food are organizations that are looking for your donations, trying to get money from you. And so they're going to make it seem more that way. But I've worked with food banks and I've worked with other things. Now, there are some people that don't get a good hot meal every day, but their problem is mostly self-imposed. They would rather buy drugs or alcohol or do something like that rather than put their money and their efforts towards feeding themselves and taking care of themselves. Well, that's their choice. If that's what they want to do, that's okay. Power to them. The problem, though, is, hey, Steve, the problem is that that's not necessarily a good game plan. But the other problem is that there's not a shortage of food if they want to feed themselves. Even in cases like that, there are always soup kitchens. In Lubbock, there's an outfit called the Carpenter's Kitchen that's associated with the Carpenter's Church there, and their outreach is to the homeless people. And they feed them at least every Sunday and probably a little more often than that. There are tons of organizations, even in small towns like the one that I'm next to. It's not hard to find an outlet to get food, to be able to feed yourself, to be able to not go hungry if you don't choose to go hungry. You know, anything you do is going to require effort. And even if that's going and finding a free meal, you have to put a little effort into that. Some people, that's the only effort they want to put into finding food, whereas they could do other things. What am I wanting to say? I'm trying not to be rude about it. You know, we had that motel for a long time, the one there in Littlefield, and we had a lot of people that came through that we got to know that we tried to help out. I mean, to the point that a lot of times we truly thought we had the word sucker written across our head. But we did it anyway in the hopes that maybe somebody would take that ball and run with it and do good. Some people did. You know, occasionally we would have somebody that we would help out. Hi, Christine. We had some people that we would help out that would do good things that, you know, in later times I have seen them make good. Now they are doing better than they were then. Some people didn't. That's just kind of the way it goes. But it happens that way sometimes. Catch up on the comments here just for a second. Yeah, Mitchell, oddly enough, here I was going to hook up a generator for a guy south of here a couple of hours, and we stopped in a grocery store there, and there wasn't a biscuit to be had. We were looking for canned biscuits that we could cook, and there wasn't a single biscuit in there. The shortages, we've talked about this on other live streams, the shortages seem to be really random on what you will, and not the same shortage everywhere. Just certain things. Yeah. Mitchell. Whoops, that wasn't the one I want to put up there. That's the one I was looking for. Trout. We don't have a lot of those around here because we don't have a lot of water around here, and so there's not a lot of fishing around here. But yes, that's exactly right. Here we go. Good comment from Oliver there. When your country has the fattest poor people in the world, you're not that hungry. May not be able to get what you want, but can get what you need. And that's exactly right, Oliver. That's exactly right. I've talked about that before. You even when it comes to shortages at the grocery store, they may not have exactly what you were wanting, but you walk into the grocery store, if you're hungry, you're going to find some food in there. It's not going to be hard to feed yourself walking into a grocery store. It may be more expensive to feed yourself, and you may not, your menu planning may not go quite the way you were hoping it would, but it is possible. Pardon me. I finally got warmed up. We had a high temperature here today of about 26 degrees, and I worked outside in it all day. Good thing I did that video the other day on how to dress warm, because I had to put all that practice in today. Didn't get home until just about dark, and it took me a full hour to an hour and a half to get warmed up with my thermostat set higher than I usually keep it set. We're going back down into the low teens here again tonight. And I know for some of you, Oliver, Mitchell, that doesn't sound very cold to y'all, but it's plenty cool here, especially. Yes, Mitchell, almost a crime. Not quite a crime, though. I like canned biscuits. Canned biscuits are easy. Even my grandmother, who made biscuits for my granddad nearly every day of his life, as she got older, she would resort to a can of biscuits once in a while, but she'd still make them fresh if that was what I wanted. All right, let me look at the comments here again, kind of get going. Christine asked if we saw any commies. Well, it depends on where you look. Yeah, Mrs. West, isn't that the truth? Sadly, she says, cheap food is fattening. Yes, it is. The healthy stuff costs more. That's kind of how that works a lot of times. That I don't know if that goes a long way to explaining why I'm like I am, but it can. $6 and snowing now. Yeah. Since Dad, I heard it was kind of a snow day up there. I heard y'all were getting hammered on pretty good, so no surprise. Country Western song, yes, sir. Hey, no kidding, Steve. 36 where you are. That's a fairly unusual occurrence in your part of the world over there. I knew it did occasionally get down chilly. I didn't know it got that chilly. I suppose even y'all get a freeze once in a while, but I did not know that. Anyway, I kind of got myself sidetracked here. We're still sort of talking about the same thing. Vanessa Kitty, hi there. Good to see you. Liberty Garden's going to be right back, and we'll see him. Cheetos ain't no, Cheetos ain't cheap. That's a good thought. Pretty much nothing is cheap, but on the grand scale of things, it seems like the more fattening things are usually the slightly more affordable things in this case. The fertilizer thing could be a problem. It's not a huge problem yet, but it likely will be. Overall, the cost of farming this year is going to be worse than it's ever been. I guess every year it's probably been worse than it's ever been. Vanessa, that sounds kind of like, a couple of days ago it was in the 60s and 70s here. Today a high of 26. Yep, that's the way that works. The cost of farming is horrible. Honestly, sometimes I'm not sure how those guys make any money, and a lot of times if it weren't for government subsidies and help and programs and things like that, they wouldn't. And I'm not a big government programs kind of guy. A lot of people call it welfare for farmers. Sort of, I guess. But farming might be the one industry that I would be okay with a little bit of subsidies and assistance, because there used to be a bumper sticker that was popular around here. It said, "Don't cuss the farmer with your mouth full," and that's kind of accurate. If it weren't for the farmers, if it weren't for for large scale farming, even there would not we would not have we wouldn't be living in the land of plenty. We would be living in the land of barely getting by. Those guys spend phenomenal amounts of money on equipment, on fuel for the equipment. I mean, price of diesel, when we see higher prices at the gas pumps, they're seeing higher prices at the pumps too, in the form of diesel. Even the farm diesel, the red dye diesel, still goes up a bunch. It's always a little bit more than the price of gasoline. So whatever you're paying for gasoline, you can know that farming equipment fuel is taking more than that. Sad but true. And then you add in the cost of fertilizer, you add in the cost of herbicides. Even if you're the kind of person that doesn't like herbicides and pesticides, without them, there would be little to no farming, because pestilence is a real thing. Bugs, when they get out of hand, will ruin entire crops across entire sections of states in a matter of days. Herbicides, I don't like a lot of the stuff, the glyphosates, the Roundup Ready stuff, and it's a trap. But weeds are a significant factor. Weeds will destroy a crop. Now, you can hire hoe hands to go out there and do it, but even hoe hands, people that go out and chop the weeds out of your field by hand, even those guys cost a lot more money now to hire and do everything. Yes, the cost of everything is greater this year, and it's pretty much like that every year. The prices go up. Yes, Vanessa, dairy has pretty much always been subsidized, as far as I know. Yeah, most ag industries are highly subsidized. And like I say, I'm not big on subsidies and that sort of thing, but that would be the exception to that rule. There may be other exceptions. I don't like the whole idea I don't like the idea of the government wasting our money, but some wasteful spending is at least more understandable than other forms of wasteful spending, if that makes any sense at all. I don't know. Nitrogen increase. Yep. So nitrogen, the cost of urea, the cost of, good grief. My buddy Reese, the fertilizer they use the most is 3200, and I can't tell you exactly what the numbers, but it refers to the nitrogen level and the other aspects of it. I'm not going to try to remember it. I do electrical work, not ag chemical work. But they're paying right now, I think he said, in the neighborhood of $600 a ton and a ton. In fact, if I recall, he says 1 ton of fertilizer will fertilize 12 acres. And you figure that a lot of their fields are well over 120. In fact, most of their fields probably average about 180 acres. So you're looking at $6,000 just for that. And a lot of farmers are farming now anywhere from 2,000 to 6,000 acres. Divide that by 12 and do the math, and that adds up to a lot of money. And the truth is, his number is probably based off of what he was paying last year, because when I talked to my guy at the fertilizer plant, the manager there, he said the price is even higher than that. For a while, it was pushing $900 a ton. He said they've got it back down now in the 700 range. He said he's not making much money off of that. That puts him on a pretty thin margin. So that means they're paying a bunch. It's really interesting sometimes to look into why the cost of everything is the cost of everything. My fertilizer guys bring their fertilizer in by rail car more than anything else. Sometimes by semi-truckload, but it's much more efficient and cost effective when they bring it in by rail car. So I don't know if you've ever priced having a rail car load of anything shipped, but it is not cheap, especially if the rail company can't get it to you as quickly as you wanted it, and they have to hang on to it, even if it's their fault. They charge you big money per day to have it sitting in their yard. So, there is pretty much no winning in that deal. And my mouse is messing up, so it wasn't batteries. It's this laptop. I need to upgrade it almost for sure. Hey, Keith, how are you, bud? He just didn't want to kill us. Yes. Ooh, man, better than that for sure. Yeah, Vanessa, lumber went up a bunch everywhere. Everybody's paying ridiculously more for lumber. You know, about a year ago, a little over a year ago, it occurred to me I should buy a pallet of plywood, half-inch CDX, the outdoor grade plywood, just because I knew I would eventually use it on various different projects or different things for myself or sell it to my customers. My goodness, price of plywood went about 2.5 times at its peak what it was when I thought about buying it. That would have been a heck of an investment. I could have made plenty of money off of that. Same with ammunition. I thought about doing a big ammunition purchase a couple of years ago, right before it all went up too. So, you know, I need to just start realizing if I have an idea about doing something like that, I should just jump in and do it and not overthink it. Yes, that's true. And Liberty Garden around here, the big feedlots do that. Most of the big feed yards, and when I say big feed yards, cattle feeding operations, like the one next to my house, is a 65,000 head operation. And they have a compost selling compost, a company that has set up right next door to them that takes all the manure out of the pens and composts it and then turns around and sells it. When I was a kid, they couldn't get rid of it because none of the farmers thought it made any sense to put it in there. So people are learning, people are figuring things out. And that's pretty common at most feed yards too. They have composting organizations that take care of that kind of thing. Hey, Anonymous American, my buddy, how are you, dude? Good to see you. Was thinking about you today, actually. When I heard a civilian bus driver on a main base in Iraq that worked 8-hour days driving a loop around the base all day and got 4 times the pay of me as a grunt Marine, I knew our government was wasting money, I'll bet is what that meant. Yes, for sure. Boy, yeah, for sure. Wasting money. No question about it. No question about it. Oh, there it is right there. He said wasting. I just had to catch up a little bit, which I'm apparently way behind in the comments. Big surprise. Woo! 3/4 plywood, $100 a sheet. My goodness. Take a hard pass on that if I get a chance. Yes. Oliver brings up a good point. There is some stuff we have to get from China, not because we can't do it, but because we don't do it. We sent all the technology over there because it could get done. You know, that I've known for 2 or 3 decades that was just a bad idea to let us be under the thumb of other countries who are producing things that we don't produce here. I never thought it would get as bad as it is, but it has. There's so much stuff we don't make here now. Hey, Chipper, good to see you, my friend. There we go. I think I'm finally caught up now. And cannot explain why my mouse is doing what it's doing, but no telling. Probably just need to restart my computer. Got too much stuff on it, no doubt. I think I may have mentioned this before too, you know, but talking about having outsourced so much of our manufacturing and good night production to other countries around the world, especially Asian and Pacific Rim countries. It wouldn't surprise me if they've used that to their advantage in other ways. One of my big conspiracy thoughts is that the Chinese very likely in all of the microchips they send over have installed, I'd be shocked if they haven't installed a kill switch, for lack of a better term, in there that they could at any time, if they wanted to, trigger from their satellites and pretty much shut down everything that has a microchip in it that we have bought from them. It'd be a simple technology. Now, I like to think that we could reverse engineer that stuff here and that our people have looked into that and would be able to pick up on something like that. But I also don't think it would be real hard to hide something like that where it wouldn't get detected. I don't know. I may be crazy for even thinking that kind of thing, but I'd be surprised. Hi, Carol. I didn't see you sneak in. Good to see you. Carol, you enjoying this good, cool weather we're having? I about froze my butt off today outside working. Same. I get the. I'm reading to myself. I guess I could read out loud. I get the stuff. I could get the stuff here, but the guys selling it here are getting it from the same China place and marking it up 100%. I've seen it going since the early 90s. Exactly, Oliver. Yeah, that's about when I started picking up on it and seeing it. I had a friend that I'd even had that conversation about in the early 90s who was in international business management. And he worked with a lot of joint ventures in China, Indonesia, Japan, places like that. And he talked about that, how just everything was getting done over there, all the way from the manufacture of the silicone wafers, all the way up to the actual manufacture and installation of chips on certain boards before they got sent over here to use. You know, it was awful convenient, pretty cost effective for American companies to do that kind of thing, but it wasn't necessarily real smart. It certainly wasn't very strategic when you get down to that type of thing. Hey, Joe, how are you, dude? You getting some of that 36-degree weather tonight? Corsair Steve said it's going to get near freezing for him, and I'm guessing where you are, it's going to be about the same. Again. And by the way, I should check and make sure. What time is it? Lean over and look down into my computer here. 9:06. So we're going to figure something out right quick. Happy Hair and my daughter are in Lubbock as they are on Wednesday evenings usually. And actually looks like they are not on the way home. I thought maybe they might be, but they are not. They're hiding in Lubbock somewhere. And okay. All right. They're having a snack. They're raising canes tonight. Having some chicken fingers, no doubt. Dog, what did I miss there? Dog sitting an armadillo. All right. Yes, dog. Yeah, okay. Supposed to freeze. Yep. Joe, I thought. That puts on readers. Okay. Where is it? 50 here in Virginia, dropping to about 40. Well, that's not bad, Mitchell. I figured it'd be a lot colder there tonight. I figured y'all were way. Amarillo, of course. Armadillo. Meh. Okay, I'm back. I'm with it now. I'm with it. Hey, Liberty Garden, welcome back, bud. For the record, the job I'm doing at the fertilizer plant is electrical stuff, of course, but they installed some brand new equipment last fall and have had some supply issues also of getting everything together and getting the new building built around it and that kind of thing. And they just the last week got the rest of the roof framing done and got plywood up on the roof so that if it rains or snows, I wish it would rain and snow. If it does, though, at least we'll be dried in and keep most of the moisture out. They hadn't got all the walls up yet. But so now I can finally start running my conduit. And it's a fertilizer plant, so I'm running PVC. Hi, Sweet Pea. Hey, Tibor. Good to see you. But it was too cold to glue any of it up today. PVC glue you're not supposed to put on if it's colder than 40 degrees. And it was not much more than half of that. So just something I happened to think of a second ago. I guess I'm still thinking I'm about halfway cold. Hadn't completely got warmed up good. Now, Liberty Garden, you mentioned DFW. I thought you were way further south than that. So I obviously don't quite know where you are. And now that I think about it, you did one of your videos where you went into town to the self-serve honey place. That was a good video, by the way. Any of y'all that aren't subscribed to Liberty Garden, he got some pretty interesting things sometimes. There's a place in one of the little towns he lives in that, now that I think of it, not lives in, but lives near, which actually I just didn't do the math on it. Drove into town, there's a little store there, that you can buy honey and there's not even anybody in the store. It's almost like a fake storefront kind of thing. Just enough room to walk in, put your money in the jar, take your honey, and walk out. Pretty cool. Small town Texas stuff. Gotta like that. Gotta like that a lot. Oh, nice. Yeah, nice. Let's see. Yes, it was a race to the bottom. Pretty much. Dad, now wait a minute. Okay. I saw a name. I thought maybe somebody else snuck in on us here. Yeah, so who knows? Things could get ugly by the end of the year. I know a lot of farmers that are going to plant their crop. There's a thing that farmers have called crop insurance. It's a big national program that they can buy insurance to cover them for a crop failure in the event of drought or hail or any other bizarre kind of thing. But to qualify for it, they have to have their field planted by a certain date. They have to be able to show, if it comes up, they have to be able to prove that they actually did a full planting. They're not allowed to go in and just do a half planting and claim a loss based on a full planting. They have to be able to show the adjuster that they planted the right number of seeds, and when the seeds come up, they have to be able to show them that they had at least sections of their field got a sufficient sprout rate in order to prove that they can that they put enough crop. What am I trying to say? That they put enough crop in the field to claim a loss. And of course, those prices that they pay for their insurance premium on that are based on projected costs, or not on the projected. Good grief! I just went blank on the term. How much the crop sells for? How much the crop sells for at the end of the season? The futures market is kind of what it goes off of. So that's how they do that. And yes, Tibor, I am frozen, pretty much. Is it 16? I don't think it's 16 in Lubbock right now, but it might be. Let's find out. I have an app for that too. Wow. Yeah, he's right. 18 degrees outside right now. Good grief, it dropped fast. Yeah, Tibor, I don't know if you were here earlier. I mentioned our high was 26 today. Yuck. Although I kind of like cooler weather. Vanessa used to be in Fort Worth, so that makes you a Texas girl then. I did not think that or know that. If I can get back caught up, that goes into, hey, yeah, exactly, Liberty Garden. Everything they grow now has to get some kind of fertilizer on it in order to get good production out of it. And yes, Keith, if that's a question, yeah, our family are doing okay right now. Oh boy, my mouse is making me angry. I don't know what it's doing, but it's not doing what I want it to. Conservative farmer. Conservative farmer. The Kraken, I am wondering if that was, I don't know what ESG means. Okay. What does ESG mean? I should know what that is. Kraken, I don't know if you know that you did that or that was on purpose, but my friend that I got this message from on Twitter and good grief, whatever other social media, Instagram, that kind of thing, conservative farmer is what he is. That's his name on there. So if that was a coincidence, that was a pretty good one. 28 here, starting to fall. Yeah. Sleep starting to fall in stars. Yeah, I'm just kind of clueless, aren't I? I don't know. Carol typed something in Amarillo. Yeah, you got to read all the comments and you have to read them in order. Otherwise, it's just hard to keep up. Got risk of losing hundreds of thousands of acres of dry farm grain to drought, but the rains yesterday saved it. Good, Joe. That's good. We have not had any of those saving rains yet. A heat wave, yeah, not much of a heat wave. So, and I never did hear back from Wes, so Wes may not be into joining us this evening. That's okay. He does them by himself all the time, so surely I can figure that out too. But Wes always had, let's have a drink and talk about it. Well, so shortages here. I'm curious, where are the shortages there? What part of the world is that? Let's have a drink. Hi, Sweet Pea. Move to somewhere that's 60 to 80 degrees all year and rains occasionally. That would be South Florida, Sweet Pea, if you want to do that. Indiana, okay. Yeah, I've got some other people that are up in that part of the world that I know, and they have mentioned those kind of shortages too. So yeah, for sure. LG, we've had a whole bunch of dry years. Starting about 2010, we have not really had a good rainy year since then. We get excited about a half-inch rain lately. We went, I don't know if you know it, year before last, I believe it was, maybe 2 years ago. We went about 14, maybe 16 months and only had 3 inches of rain in that entire time. It was awful. It was awful. And it was a very good wake-up call for anybody that does preps, tries to be ready, that kind of thing, to realize how unlikely it is that you will always get the rain that you think you need. It was a huge wake-up call for the type of environment that we live in. At a grocery store. Okay. Yep. So you will see it then. I do some work for a grocery store here, electrical work for them. And I've asked them a couple of times about the shortages and different things like that, and they can't predict it. They have no idea what they're going to be short on, what they're going to have plenty of, when it will happen, anything like that. And it seems to be even splotchy. Like the grocery store here where I am may be out of one thing, generic snack foods right now, for what that's the thing that they're out of. Whereas 30 miles to the east of us or a couple of hours north of us, something totally different. They'll have plenty of that, but be short on everything else. Son works at Walmart. Okay. Distribution center. Ohio River's above flood stage. Come get some. We'd take it, Tibor. I promise we'd take it in a heartbeat. Many years ago, well, like when I was a kid, there was lots and lots of talk and studies done on putting in basically a version of the Alaska pipeline to bring water from the Mississippi to here. And they finally decided, of course, we were getting a lot more rain back then. And so they finally decided it would not be worth it. I bet they're rethinking that. 3 inches in 16 months is a desert. Yes, it is. Our average rainfall here is about 17 to 18 inches a year, which puts us, semi-arid, I guess, something like that it would be called. But, there were a couple of years there that we got less than, in fact, we went, I'm not going to remember, 2011 was a horrible bad year. We had the motel. That was like the third year we had the motel. And I remember towards the end of that dry spell, we got a rain. And I laid out there in the courtyard on the sidewalk at that motel right next to the highway, right next to Highway 84, and just laid in the water and splashed it on myself and rolled around in it like a fool because it was so nice to see rain again. And, that is becoming not an uncommon thing. Kroger, okay, parent company. Hey, cousin. Yeah, I saw. I've seen some empty shelves too, cousin. And it's funny that, not funny that your heater, but interesting that your heater went out. My heater went out. In fact, about a week ago, I did a live stream and talked about how our hot surface igniter on our heater went out. And I had to teach my wife how to light the furnace, because I knew I was going to be gone for a couple of days, how to light the furnace with a propane torch when the gas valve kicked on, so she could get the burners lit and keep the house a little bit warmer. So between that and wood stove, if you don't have a wood burning appliance in your house, you need to strongly think about that for all of you. Some of you, it's harder to do, but once again, having a wood stove here made life a lot easier. But anyway, I've got it fixed now. I got the part in replaced the other day, so all better again. Any kind of pasta. Carol, I didn't know there were many Italians up there north of Amarillo. National water. Yeah, it is, Tibor. I mean, it's not a bad idea at all. Frozen and refrigerator items. Now, that's interesting. Let's have a drink. I had mentioned earlier that one of the things that I looked for the other day at a grocery store was canned biscuits. None. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Niente. Didn't have them. A few weeks before that, the big shortage was cream cheese. Couldn't find any cream cheese anywhere. So there's no figuring things. Farmer rancher that 21 was the first year in 50 that he had a wheat crop not come up. Wow. How about that? How about that? Yeah, that's concerning. No question about it. Years are drier, colder, bad combination. That's true. That's true. Liberty Garden. A lot of people don't put that together. Kerosene heater is a good idea, Uncle Al. I trust that you've got several gallons of kerosene put away just in case. Can't get cream cheese here nowhere. Carol does have Tibor. Hit Carol up. She's got cream cheese. Trade her some canned biscuits. No biscuits for you either, cousin. Okay. How about that? How about that? Mrs. West, I am curious about Mr. West. Is he okay? Everything good with him right now? Or is he just like hanging back and maybe doing something else? I hope he's not got one of those headaches that he occasionally gets. I wondered if he might be traveling downstate to check on a friend of ours. I heard from them today, and I know he did too, so that occurred to me that might be the case. 50-gallon tank of kerosene, Uncle Al. Good grief. That ought to, yeah, I don't know where you keep it there, maybe out back with your tomato garden, but good on you, brother. Good on you. No biscuits, no pie crust. So what the heck is the deal with no biscuits? You know, I guess I could get back into the habit of making biscuits again, but I hadn't thought about it. I've thought about it. I just hadn't done it. Nobody's got biscuits. What the heck? Canned Pillsbury cinnamon rolls. Heck yeah. Cracking. Heck yeah. No, my wife is asking if I had a small group meeting tonight. Some patriot-minded guys that we meet. I have to tell her no every other week. So that means she's probably on her way home at this point. Stalker Steve. Hey, brother. Good to see you here. Yeah, boy, that's just weird. That's just weird. Means you got I doubt that'll happen. But yeah, thank you, Uncle Al. Anybody, if you think about it, throw me a thumbs up, just, because you love me, or because I'm pretty, or some. Oh, no cinnamon rolls either, huh, Carol? That's a drag. That's a drag. Cat food. I personally, C103, I personally am not a big fan of cat food on my crackers, but whatever works for people in your part of the world, I guess. Maybe considering about the area you live, that shouldn't be too surprising. But who knows? I should make sure everybody gets to see that. None here. That's bizarre. That makes me want to go buy a bunch. I actually found some in the grocery store here. Not very many of them, but they did have a few. Problem with canned biscuits is And I got reminded of this a couple of days ago. Actually, yesterday morning, I had a can of biscuits that had been in the refrigerator for a while. And I peeled that paper and it blew up and actually made the can hit me in the stomach hard enough it kind of hurt and blew some bits of biscuit out on the counter and in the floor. So that's the problem with keeping them too long. Yep, Zesta's keyboard. That's exactly the ones I have not seen. The premium saltines, I've seen those and a couple of the whole wheat ones, which I don't think anybody likes those. Fancy, you bet. Yeah, crackers were a little bit slow. I'm still getting my Ritz crackers. Oh, good grief. I got to keep them. If nothing else, I got to have my Ritz crackers. Snowpack year to date is 94%. No, wait a minute. Though 94% of what it should be. I was thinking you were saying 94% of what you're supposed to get to. I was going to say that's not bad because where you live, you still got March and April. And April up in Breckenridge, Colorado, was a huge snow month typically. Typically, we got more snow in March and April than any other month of the year. Bisquick. You know, Stalker Steve, Bisquick is okay. I can do it. I can eat Bisquick pancakes. Bisquick is not my favorite, though. Pioneer Baking Mix, I like it better. Better than Bisquick, anyway. What we all need to do is have a class. And maybe I should do. I haven't done it in so long. My grandmother, when she made biscuits, and a lot of y'all can probably relate to this one. My grandmother made biscuits. She had a great big bowl of flour. I bet it was a 2-gallon, 3-gallon bowl. And she would just take her fist, push down in the middle to make a hole in it. And she would get out some buttermilk and she'd pour a dose of buttermilk. She didn't measure anything, but she'd pour a dose of buttermilk in there. And she'd throw about that much salt in a little can that she had. And she would put that much baking powder in with it. And I can't remember if she put, baking powder. And I can't remember if she put any baking soda in with it or not. I don't think she did, but I don't remember. And she would, I started to say she cracked an egg into it, but she didn't. That was just for cornbread. And then she had a can of shortening that she would just grab out kind of a, small handful and reach down into that mixture and begin just doing that to mix it up. I know my cousin Scott will be able to relate to this. But that is how she would mix up her biscuit dough. And when she'd get it formed into a good ball, she'd throw a little bit of flour on I forget, my computer's turned weird. She'd sprinkle a little bit of flour on the counter, pull out that ball of dough, set it down there, kind of pat it out, real good. Maybe turn it over once, dust it with just a little bit more flour. And she had a biscuit cutter, or sometimes she had a certain glass. It's going to make me sad and nostalgic here thinking about that. A glass that she used to cut her biscuits with. She'd dip that in the flour, cut another biscuit. And if it looked like it was sticking, she'd dip it back in the flour. In the meantime, her biscuit pan was in the oven with a little bit of bacon grease in there, getting good and hot. And when she had all the biscuits cut out, she'd cut them out, refold the dough, pat it out, cut more biscuits. She'd come out, man, make great old big, boy, those were good biscuits. She'd pull that pan out with that hot grease in it and lay the biscuit in there on one side and turn it over. Take another one, lay it in there, turn it over, and cook them up good. And, man, I can't even describe to you how good those biscuits were. A little bit of hot butter, a little bit of grape jelly maybe. Sit with my granddad, pour a little bit of sorghum syrup. Well, my granddad would take a big pat of butter and dump sorghum syrup on it and just mash it in real good and sop his biscuits in that. And yes, sir, buddy. Yes, sir, buddy. Okay, and y'all ran off with me. Carol's thinking draft papers might be coming soon. I hope not. I hope that's not right. Probably just the breakaway parts. I think just the breakaway parts. Now I've got to work back here to catch back up because I got talking. Dinky D meat and veggie dog food, favorite food. Yes, it was. That's exactly right. Meat and veggies, dog food. That good call. Good call. That's exactly right. All right, so I got to catch 4 meters of snow in the Japan countryside. Not bad, Uncle Al. Fox News. Explosions heard in Kiev and Kharkiv. Hand mixer, my wife. Yeah. A snuff jar for biscuits. No, cousin, I don't think it was a snuff jar. It was a clear glass, so it wasn't the brown like a snuff jar would have been. But it's about that size though. It's pretty close to that same size. You had me at bacon grease. Hey, Dove season. Yes, yep. Have me at bacon grease. Bacon grease is good for cooking everything. You know, I mean, all right. Okay, I think I'm finally caught back up. NBC blasting Ukraine, practicing old duck and cover under the coffee table. Good idea. All right, so now I'm wondering about that. Yeah, how about that? So who knows what might be happening? And you know, back to the original topic of this whole evening's discussion. You know, we're living in some crazy times between fertilizer shortages that might be coming and high prices of everything, and especially if unrest is hitting Europe again. You know, it's interesting. Ukraine was one of those countries that got starved almost out of existence a few decades ago by the Soviets. They decided that's how they would punish them, and they put the screws to them, and literally millions of people starved flat to death because they couldn't get enough food. And what a shame that would be for us to let that happen when it is so easy right now to stockpile food. You know, it sounds cliche to say beans and rice, but it is so cheap to get beans and rice, and they last just about forever. Something so simple as to do even like that. And then you eat that. If you can't find something else, you can have a bowl of beans or a bowl of rice. You know, yeah, that's depressing to think about that. And cousin, I don't guess I realized that they came in clear jars. So I still don't think it was a snuff jar, but you know what? I can't say for sure. My grandmother didn't dip snuff. My granddad didn't either, as far as I know. 2x4s are back up in price. Yeah, Stalker Steve, a lot of stuff. Just as it started to come down, looks like it didn't come down as much as it should. And like you say, is starting back up again. That's likely to be a common thing. I will mention something. You know, a lot of people are talking about market crash and economy crash and that kind of thing. You know, you just can't predict it. I've been expecting the stock market to crash for about the last 6 years, and it hadn't done it. I did, however, have some money in an S&P 500 mutual fund, and I pulled it out today. I took it out and just put it into a regular holding. It's an IRA, and there's not much money in it. You know, if I lost every bit of it, I don't think it'd make a lot of difference. But the S&P's gone down a whole bunch recently, so is some of the other stuff. So if you have money in the stock market or whatever, you might look and see what the 52-week high is for whatever stock you're holding. If it's up very high at all, or if it looks like it's starting to trend down, might be worth thinking about pulling it out. You know, you never know. I more often than not, I have sold stocks right before I should have. But there's been plenty of times that I sold little stocks that I actually did it at just the right time and caught it at the highest price. That's the way you do it. You're supposed to watch that kind of stuff. Okay, let's see. Cream of mushroom soup, which is always a good choice for 10 cents a can, Chipper. Hey, was it the generic stuff or the good Campbell's? I bet it was the generic, but even still, man, that's not bad. That is not bad. And amen, Liberty Garden. The government always, that's the takeaway message right there. The government always makes things worse. Yes, they dang sure do. With our tax, Steve, that may be right. You know, we're talking about the market. Yeah, they do different things. They keep more or less bailing it out or artificially inflating it to keep it from crashing. And yeah, that's exactly right. Great pickup for sure. Dove season 91. What part of the world are you in? We just like to kind of keep up with everybody so we know, not so we know where they are. but just so we have an idea of what part of the world, when you make a reference to something, if you do, we just have an idea of what part of the world that kind of thing is going in at. So we can kind of see $1.59 there until they show smoking holes. Generic. Okay, yeah. Make a joke about me loading the cart right up till I show them the price. Yeah, for sure. Phoenix, all right. Phoenix, Arizona. Ooh, you're not probably having to wrestle with this cold weather that we've got. On the other hand, you'll be hotter than us when it comes summertime. So I guess it all works out. And I'm sure you've told us before what part of the world you're in, but my memory is not as good as it used to be. So appreciate you mentioning that for sure. For sure. Now, Joe, you don't really expect that, do you? Although I suspect you're probably exactly right. Trying to make Brandon look good. Yep. For sure. There it is. For anybody that doesn't know, my daughter got me that because she's kind of like-minded the way I am. So that makes me proud. All of my girls were like that very much. Was always very proud of all my girls for that kind of thinking. Gotta put a... Come back quick, Kraken. We'll miss you till you get here. Oh, man. So what else is going on in the world? Hopefully all of you are kind of stocked up on most of the stuff you need, or at least to a degree. When you talk about preparations, you never know just what you need to have because you never know exactly what you're preparing for. But more than anything else, if you're prepared for some food to eat, something to eat if times get bad, and a way to get a drink of water, hopefully you stored some water or you have a way to collect some water and make it drinkable, not rely on your stomach to figure it out. There's a whole video by itself, but food and water are the two big things. That's awesome. Let's go Brandon Socks. Yep, that's awesome. Selling canned goods by the case because people were, you have case deals going on them or just people were really stocking up on them. That could be two different things. If you had a good sale going, it makes sense. But if people are just coming in there and buying canned goods by the case, that could, yes, Carol, you have a way to get water. I believe you do. If people are, I guess it's the difference between people taking advantage of a good sale or people panic buying and stocking up. Just kind of what that makes me wonder about. Uncle Al, that's a fairly good point. Uncle Al says that by April, eggs will disappear. They might because they have done a lot of culling of the poultry flocks. I mean, big time. So that could easily put a shortage on something. Yeah, and that's what Chipper's referring to right there. Being short supply, companies are killing off whole houses. Yep, as a precaution. Wow, as a precaution, Chipper, I had not heard that. As a precaution for bird flu. Good grief. And where Chipper lives is a big poultry production area of the United States. 60,000 birds. Oh, my goodness. Okay, that's just how they were buying it. Okay, I got you. While the ewes left the army. Not a mistake. It was fully depreciated. Yeah, Liberty Garden. That's a good thought. That's a very interesting thought. There could be some truth to that. Wow, my brain just doesn't even work that way. But that makes it. About 10 acres in a shack in the boondocks. Stalker Steve, well done. Bonus for you, bud. Bonus points for you. Chronic Smoke. Hey, dude, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Playing their game. Yep. Chronic Smoke, I think this may be the first time you've ever been on any of my streams. So double good to have you here. That's kind of a what's the word? A treat, I guess. Glad to see you. Cyber attacks. Yes, that is worth considering. I've heard some talk about that kind of thing. You know, some countries have whole programs. I guess probably most major countries have whole programs that launch cyber attacks. Many of you know I've got a pretty good friend of mine lives near here that teaches cybersecurity for one of the colleges around here. And he has mentioned that kind of thing, that it is a real and ongoing threat, cybersecurity. And it would not be a surprise at all. It would be kind of a surprise, but it would not be surprising for something like that to happen. So that could easily be a case. And yes, something to be ready for sure. Mitchell, good to have you here, man. I appreciate your thoughts and your comments. So it's good for you to be here, man. Get a good night's sleep and good luck with everything. You stay safe, brother. 10 cases of chicken, 9 were drumsticks. How about that? That's interesting. Too many predators. Yeah, we got a lot of predators here, but we keep them. I've got 2 great old big Pyrenees dogs that don't like coyotes and other predators, and they keep them down. Right now, I've got something eating eggs. I haven't gotten eggs in forever, and now that I am, the rare egg that I see out there, by the time I get to it, I'm pretty sure it's one of our stinking cats has gotten into it, just chewed the edge of it open and then got all the goodie out of it. I thought it was hens. Every now and then you'll get hens that eat eggs, but I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's cats because I had some eggs that I had put in my shop, and I went in there the other day, and several of them, the same thing had happened to, and there had been no chickens in my shop. So now we're down to cats. I don't think it's a raccoon or a possum or anything, because when coons and possums do that, they crap all over everything in the process, and it's easy to tell. And there wasn't any. So I'm betting it's a cat. Don't you feel better? No, I don't feel better. Tibor, thanks for asking. I'm pretty sure nobody does. Stalker Steve, I have wondered about that. There's been speculation on that kind of thing. Yeah, that's completely possible. I'm pretty sure Steve is referring to the I just forgot the name of that pipeline, but the one over in the eastern states that ran a whole bunch of stuff and kind of shut them down for a little bit. You know, maybe. And Chipper, no, they don't need more steak. What they need, a few of them need a stake driven through their heart is what they need. I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that to any of our cats, and I wouldn't do that, but I would. My daughter loves cats. I worry that she's going to grow up to be one of those crazy cat women, instead of, finding a man sometime. Not really, but good grief. She can tell you the genealogy and the life history of pretty much every cat we've ever had in the last 10 or 12 years. She'll ask me, wasn't such and such cat, such and such mom? I'm like, I have no idea. I have no clue. Now, no, I don't believe it would be a snake. It could be it could be a wood rat, Uncle Al. It sure could be a wood rat, because one of the cats came up with it, and I was about to make the point. We haven't seen a mouse or a rat in a long time, except for one that a cat brought in the other day. Uncle Al, that's worth thinking about. I had not even considered that it might be a rat, because we've never had rats do that, but I don't think I've ever had a cat do that either. So that's a good point. No, it wasn't the Keystone Pipeline cracking. It was Keystone Pipeline is the one that Biden shut down and didn't want to do that. That's the one that was running down through the center of the country, unless I missed something. But no, there was another pipeline over in the east. Somebody will think of it, but I don't know. Raid hen houses, but they kill. That's right, Tibor. they will kill, and you can tell a lot of times because they'll bite the head off, or only eat the head off of a bird, something like that. So for sure, Liberty Garden, maybe. That's funny. People addicted to porn. Boy, and there is a bunch of that, isn't there? My goodness. Hey, Chance, how are you, brother? And the YouTube shut down. Yeah, that won't be as much of a loss. But interesting. Matt Gregor, good to see you. I didn't know if you've been in here. I didn't notice you till just now, unless I said hi earlier. I lose track. Y'all know me. Crazy dog lady. Carol. Oh man. Chance, you missed it, man. We had a nice, good, pleasant, cool day. I think the high here today was 26 degrees, dude. Good night. I still haven't gotten completely warmed up from being out in it all day. Eggs every day. Yeah, cousin. Yeah. Wild dogs. I saw that. Oh, need to get rid of some Pyrenees pups. Don't even tell me that, cousin. I've got two now. Our oldest one is, I think we decided he's 8 years old. And in the world of Pyrenees dogs, that's getting up there a little bit. He's still going strong for right now, though. Burr, yes, that's right. That is right. Check on things here. Take that off. Yep, down to 17 degrees here now. Oops. Tomorrow's supposed to be a little nicer, back up high of 50 degrees. So that's not terrible. But we've got wind. I don't want wind. I live in the wrong place if I don't want wind. Isn't that the truth? Let's see. No, we still haven't left. All right. So how about that? All right. What is going on here? I don't know what's going on. Oh, I know what's going on. All right, so good. Back with it now. Pardon that. Keyboard. I had about 2 weeks ago. I had that out and I was trying 3 or 4 different knives. But man, you know how I am. I get something new and pretty like that. I take it out. I look at it. I hold it up close. I stroke it and all nice and pretty. And I'm afraid to get it dirty or afraid for something to happen to it. I am horrible about that kind of thing. But yes, I found 2 or 3 that fitted. I just have to decide. I don't want to get a scratch on it. It's like having a new vehicle. I don't want to scratch on it. I don't want anything to happen to it. Oh man. Colonial Pipeline, Stalker Steve. Yes, I believe that's right. Ha ha. Ha ha. Yeah. Ted Kaczynski wasn't right. Wet and molded, and it'll be. Hey, I didn't think about that. I'll be thinking about that. First, I thought it said wet and moldy. I was like, I don't want to do that. But wet and molded around it a little bit. Yeah, for sure, I could do that. That's a good thought. It didn't. I didn't, and I knew that. But again, getting it wet would seem like a wrong thing to do, and so that wouldn't have occurred to me. But I found 2 or 3. I've got some old knives that are out there that I thought would go really nice in that. I don't know if they're quite to the point of being antique knives, but they go back a ways. And I thought one of those would be very nice in it. A little bit with soda, McGregor, with soda. Like the TP and water run. Yeah. And surely all of you have toilet paper stocked up at this point, and not going to get caught shorthanded on that again. I like to think. Ah, wah, wah, wah. Well, yeah, Chipper understands. That's exactly right. You know, I come from when I was a kid, man. If you had something new, you took care of it because, you know, not everything you had was new. Tibor, I do not think you're an antique. I think I don't know. You might be older than me. Maybe. And paper towels. Carol, yes, paper towels are good to have, although we rarely use paper towels here. I tell you what I do is on the rare occasion that we go grab a hamburger at McDonald's or someplace like that, I usually wind up with a handful, not a big handful, but a few extra napkins that I may actually need, and I keep them, you know, kind of in a pile over here where they're convenient to have and use. So not so bad. Joe, is that correct? Really? How about that? Hey, Mel, I am live right now. I'm glad you popped in too. We both are. The Jameson lamp is. All right. Come on. Come on, computer. What are you doing to me? Goodness gracious. I don't know what's going on with my stupid computer. That is frustrating. Check. Yeah, good point, Carol. Good point. Antique body, right? Oh, JD ride. Not bad. Once in a while, I like a ride. Not often, but once in a while. Brandon is meeting with the G7 counterparts. Yeah. Well, that should make things worse. Almost for sure. Almost for sure. Well, who knows, Joe? If you got that report right and it's going crazy over there, that may open up a whole new can of worms. It could go crazy from there. Absolutely, could go crazy from there. Hard to know what'll happen with that, but if that's the case, you can probably expect all the major markets to drop tomorrow. Head south a little bit. You can expect. Boy, I'm going to wish I had filled up my gas tank this evening. Gas here right now, I saw today 315 at one spot and 329 at another spot. And I'll bet tomorrow, if what Joe says is accurate, and I'm sure what Joe says is accurate, but if what he saw is accurate, then we can expect an easy 20-cent jump tomorrow, would be my guess. Yeah, wouldn't be surprised at all. At all. Pendleton and 7-Up. Interesting. Yeah, Tibor, gasoline's going to jump. Needs a change of government, full annexation. Good point, Liberty Garden. I don't know. That's a good point. I expect a full annexation, which will, of course, bring up a change of government. 335 there where Stalker Steve is. And Stalker Steve, you and Mel Chasing Life are kind of in the same part of the world over there, I think. At 295, oh, you found one of those Murphys there, didn't you? Probably that Murphy's over there on the West Loop, cousin. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Oh boy. 200,000 troops, air assault, and beach landings. Yeah, Joe, gas is always more expensive where you are. Oh, no, Stalker Steve, not you, dude. I called that wrong. Yep. I was thinking about somebody else saw you and said you. So no, not you. Not you. Yeah, no, not the same part of the world as you. My bad. My bad. Minus 5 points for Rob. Notifications on your phone. Okay. Oh, really? Oh, of course. Yeah, they've got that. Yeah, that Murphy's there. I didn't think about that, Scott. Yeah, so you're right. 3:16 by rush hour. It's 3:39. No surprise. No surprise. Well, that's what I get for not filling it up. I should probably consider filling up a couple of my extra gas cans too. Really, Liberty Guard. When did he? Oh, the stupid computer. When did he do that video? Did he put that out today? I didn't see that one. I'm behind on my videos, having been gone for 3 or 4 days and then uh, working all day like I did today. Wiley Coyote, yeah. Oh, a couple of weeks ago, yes, I did see that one. I did see that one, Liberty Garden. Yeah, Steve Wayne's video a couple of weeks ago. How about that? Hey, how about that, Mel? Like, y'all got cold this evening, huh? I wouldn't have thought about that down there. I guess if Joe and Corsair Steve and those guys are going to be freezing and all tonight, then no surprise that you might as well. Airborne assault to take Kiev Airport. How about that? You know, it's interesting, Joe. I really kind of didn't think he was going to do it. I thought he was just going to take. Hey, you know what? As I think about it, I guess that shouldn't be a surprise. But I guess he just talked about it and made such a show of it for so long. I decided he wasn't going to. Maybe that was his plan. Well, we'll see how ugly it gets there. Um, you know, a lot of the people there were planning on being resistance fighters, but I had this conversation with a guy today. Ukraine has always just historically been a part of Russia, not necessarily the country, but a part of Russia as such. When you think about that part of the world, Ukraine just seems like it's a part of. Obviously, it was part of the Soviet Union, but you just think about it being. You think about it being part of Russia, and so no surprise that they would kind of want to take it back. Yeah, I could easily get in over my head on that conversation, so I won't. How about that? You heard it here first. War in Europe, Eastern Europe, anyway. Yeah, you didn't hear it here first. Get off of there. Go away. The seaport. How about that? See, now I'm more busy reading the comments than I am talking, which no great loss, huh? I have a feeling my computer is not dropping the comments here in front of me as quick as it should, because I see an occasional. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm not getting all the comments coming in, oddly enough. Just seeing little holes in the comments. As I'm reading back up the stream, there are things people. Okay. All right. Maybe it was up there just way far up, though. Boy, you got that right, Liberty Garden. Yeah, you got that right for sure. That would be a whole new can of worms. Hey, Bent, I wondered if I was going to see you this evening. How are you? Yeah, I could go south real fast, for sure. Conversation. Sorry, I was looking over at the phone to see if it's keeping up or where I am. Stalker Steve, appreciate you. I appreciate having had you in here tonight, man. Thanks for being here. You added a lot of good stuff to the conversation. That was well appreciated. So good for you, man. Hope to see you again. Breathing in and out at regular intervals. Yes, Bent, that is exactly the right thing to do. For anybody that doesn't know it, Bent always tells everybody to keep breathing. And for as simple of a bit of advice as that is completely accurate and completely the right way to do it. Oh, well, cool, Chipper. That's good to know. See, no big deal. Probably Brandon gave him a phone call and said, chill out. And because, Brandon says he's the only guy that's ever gone toe to toe with Putin. And, I'm sure Putin is not wanting that to happen again. I'll go ahead and say I don't want it to happen. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's wrong. I was going to say go toe to toe with Vlad and get a good Hawaiian punch out of the deal. Seal Poland. Oh, man. Mrs., are you going to bed? Tell Wes I said hi. When y'all send me a text message and let me know everything's okay, because I'm worried. If you responded earlier whether Wes was okay, I didn't see it, and I hadn't gotten a text from him, so would love to make sure everything's good, just for my own comfort level. But anyway, good night. Okay, y'all may have to help me out here. Did she respond a while ago and tell me something going on and I missed it? Because I'm missing bits. My chat, the way it's going right now, I'll be looking at one and it'll blink and all of a sudden there's, 12 or 15 more. So I'm sure I'm missing plenty of stuff. He had a headache and went to sleep. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Thank you. I suspected it was something like that. When we were camping, he had one of those, and that made me feel bad, wanting to do something to help him and knowing there was nothing I could do. So good. Give him a hug for me, and I'll talk to y'all pretty soon. Yeah, Ben, that's not entirely inaccurate. Hey, on the good news, there's some good-looking Russian gals over there, right? I saw a meme showed some really hot girl in the picture. It claimed, I guess, she was Ukrainian. It said it was time to adopt Ukrainians to get them out of a war zone. Oh, I got to get a new laptop. This is making me crazy having this thing folded up like a clamshell. I'm doing it. Boy, Joe, do you think so? Because I'm not necessarily convinced that NATO is all that big of a deal. Keith, thank you, brother. Good night, man. I was glad to have you here. I always like having you here too, Keith. You're You always got cool stuff to say. Appreciate you, man. Ukraine, yeah, Liberty Guard. I think we understood what you meant. Yeah, just trying to seal them up like that, and that would not be surprising at all, for sure. Well, tomorrow, boys and girls, may be an interesting day. I say boys and girls. We still got girls in here, don't we? I think we got at least a couple or three, so I'm okay saying that. Although if some of you guys think that may apply to you, who am I to judge? Yeah, dang right. Wow. See, it just did that again. It jumped up a whole bunch on me. There we go. Hey, Randy. Well, no, I don't. And isn't that a shame? But I have an app for that too. Tonight's rambling brought to you by there we go. Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. All right. Cat, do you need outside? Y'all forgive me. I've got a cat here. I'm not really a cat person, but I think she wants me to let her outside, which I'm happy to do. I will be. You want to go out? No, she doesn't want outside. She wants me to get her more food. No thanks. She's got plenty of food. Oh, but I am going to need a little ice with this. Yeah, that's probably right, Tibor. I've seen some that, yeah, enough said. Oh. Something I may not have ever mentioned to y'all. When I had my business up in the mountains in Colorado, I used to have business contacts who I'm pretty sure were Russian mobsters. And oddly enough, I'm sure they had some women working for them, but I never knew about it. It was always guys. And they were actually a lot of fun. They were good to work with. They were straightforward, very businesslike, but would have some fun too and kind of keep it lighthearted sometimes. And all of those guys, even the guys that did the most menial of jobs among that bunch, had crazy degrees in nuclear engineering and physics and all that kind of thing. I mean, crazy educated. But, I guess that's just something they do over there. Joe, to answer that question, no, I don't think there is. And isn't that sad? Even if not surprising. Yeah, everybody says no. No, Joe. On the application. Cheers. That's a good pour. Yeah, I can pat myself on the back for that one. Yep, it's unanimous. No, there are none. There are none. Oh, something y'all need to help me do here. Y'all need to help me figure out what I do good about. Yeah, serious business here. Help me figure out how to make better live streams, how to do better live streams, how to, there's a thing up here. It shows how many people are watching and it kind of goes up and down and up and down. And when I see that, I'm like, what did I do? What? How come a bunch of people jumped off? Not that I'm surprised or not that I blame them, but y'all know me. I am okay with advice, criticism, and handy tips. So let me know what things I can do to make better live streams, to make better videos as far as that goes. Who knows? We may be, Joe. We may be on multi. Yeah. Who was it? Was it Chesty Puller in the Marines that said we're surrounded? That makes our situation easier. Maybe so, Mel. Maybe so. We'll get Wes back in here next time. He and I do tend to get a little bit silly sometimes. I guess that's entertaining, even if not highly informative. Martell, what, Liberty Garden, you are welcome. Whoops. Clicked on the wrong one. And thank you, Joe. I don't know about that, but thank you for saying that. Don't yet. Yep, Liberty Garden. Martell. I've never had that. By the way, speaking of shortages, who would have thought? When I went to my local bourbon salesman in the store in Lubbock, there were several of my everyday good bourbons that I would pick from. They didn't have. I mean, they flat didn't have them. It wasn't like they were down to the last one or two. They flat didn't have them. I never would have thought about that being an issue. I mean, they still had plenty of stuff on the shelves of different things. Same kind of thing at the grocery store. May not be exactly what you were looking for, but if you want a jug of bourbon, they got it. But just kind of odd. Thank you, Mel. I appreciate that. Yeah, and thank you for that. I appreciate that. But I know I get to rambling, and who knows? And you know what, Kraken, you may have hit the nail on the head, because that's exactly what I do. I overthink things. I try to think through every little aspect of it. That's why a lot of my customers use me, because I overthink stuff. I over-engineer it. I like to get things right. I really do. And of course, I'm sure that's more important in doing electrical work than it is in doing a live stream. But I've had a couple of customers when I've done other things besides electrical work. Before I got my electrical business, I did all kinds of things, and I had a couple of customers tell me to not try to get it perfect. Well, that doesn't even make sense to me. Of course you try to get it perfect. Why wouldn't you try to get it perfect? Don't set the bar low for yourself. Set the bar high. Aim for perfection, knowing that you may not get it. But if you aim for something low, well, you're going to miss that too, probably. And aim for the higher mark. So that's what you do. That's what you do. Oh boy, what? Hang on. Yeah, okay, I'm catching up. It did the same thing. It just threw a whole bunch of chats at me all at once. Too mushy. Yeah, that was pretty mushy, keyboard. That was pretty mushy. But thank you. It's funny when you do it like that. Yep, see the Kraken agreed. Whoa, it did it again. Wow. Thank you, Mel. I'm embarrassed by that. I'm not even going to show. Everybody saw it, but thank you. That's very sweet. Red Stag. No kidding. With Red Stag, huh? 2-liter bottle in December. Okay, Liberty Garden, you got to tell me what Martell is. I don't even know. I've never seen it or had it, and so I can't tell you what it even is. I'm looking forward to finding out. It may be something I need to try. Hot chicks and cash giveaways. Well, Joe, have I got a deal for you? And that ain't it. Because we don't have, ooh, that would have come out wrong. I'm glad I didn't finish that thought. That would have gotten me in trouble. Not that she ever watches any of my stuff, but so moving right along, I lean forward. Mark. Oh my gosh. Mark, a few years ago at church, there's a guy there, a friend of mine. He was a couple of years behind me in high school. so I've known him pretty much forever. But we were standing in the foyer of the church building, and somebody brought something and handed to us. It was going to be one of the announcements that day. And he and I both looked at it for like 4 or 5 seconds. And then I pulled my glasses off and he put his on. I started laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, Clinton, we got old, dude. Oh, cognac. No kidding. Okay. T Rants, hey. Yes, good advice. Drip your faucets. And I didn't know you were in here. I would have said hello earlier. So thank you. And Mel, yeah, that the chat, honest to goodness, a lot of times I think when I do a live stream and other people too, it is not the main thing that people are there for is to interact over in the chat box and talk to each other. I can't tell you how often that whoever's doing the stream has no idea what's going on in the chat, and guilty. And that, but I think that's great. I think it's fun. I love getting in like that. A lot of times, if whoever's talking, just shut up, and all the people in the chat just talk to each other with an occasional mention or something from the streamer, probably be okay. Cognac. I have not drank much cognac. I don't know much about that. Thank you for that. And let's have a drink. Because yes, oh, my stupid mouse. Making me crazy. I reread it. Oh boy. Yeah, I put new batteries in my mouse and it is still not cooperating. So it probably means I need to restart my computer, which I'm not going to do right now. Glasses to find my, oh my gosh, Tibor, every once in a while I set my glasses down and don't know where, and it's like something out of a comic strip or a movie or something. I'm sitting there hunting around for them, feeling around for my glasses. Good grief. Ben's back. Hey brother, welcome back. WB. Cognac has a good burn. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. There, got it. WB. Carol put it down. WB. And probably we are about at, let me check the old Stalker app here. Speaking of things I have an app for. We are about the 20-minute mark for where this video will shut off. I should have probably shut it off a long time ago, but that'll put us right at 2 hours, so that'll be about right. Yeah, exactly, LG. Nice warm feeling. Nice warm feeling for sure. Oh, Joe. So, Joe, you keeping up with it? Any news? Have they, anybody over there nuked each other yet? Or are they still just, it's funny. I picture what's going on over in Ukraine right now, kind of like the opening scene from Red Dawn, where all the Ruskies are dropping in their winter camouflage and getting in the middle of it. Hey, Jack's camera. I didn't know you were here. Maybe you just dropped in, but good. Thanks for saying hi, brother. It's good to see you. Hope everything's good down there in your part of the world. You might know I was down in that vicinity back around Christmas and New Year's, right through there, and just before New Year's, actually. It was very nice. I'm ready to go back. So appreciate you being here. Says airspace is not close to civilian aircraft. Okay. Yeah, exactly. For now. Yeah. But coming soon, right? I bet you. Okay. I'm looking on the Stalker app. See, now this is going to be here. I'll show you what I'm looking at. Well, this may not work. I've seen Wes do this, try to get it, but with the glare and everything. Yeah, anyway, I'm looking at a map, and my wife and daughter, for whatever reason, are going completely the wrong direction from coming home. So my guess is that there must be an accident on the highway somewhere, which is, you'll probably have an idea how that makes me feel. She is at the town. She just left the town, didn't go all the way through. Well, it's not through the town, but the highway around the town where the accident was with my daughters. And they have far too many accidents in that stretch of highway right in there. So that's got me wondering what's going on. I'll have to send her a text right quick and ask. Just type detour with a question mark and see. Although it could be that my daughter has a friend with her that they're dropping off somewhere. Yep. Blessings to you too, Jack. Sid's dad, you out of here, brother? I will look forward to talking to you in the next day or two. Yeah. Yeah. So now I'm going to be concerned, wondering what's going on until I hear back from my wife and hoping everything's okay. But I mean, we pretty much had everything talked out, I guess. So it probably is about the right time to kind of wind it down, I suppose. We got lots of people dropping off the stream, probably getting close to bedtime in different places, getting close to supper time for me. This is a typical thing. I guess my family, my family, wife and kids have always kind of lived on the other end of the clock. I have worked so many years doing things at night, having jobs where I worked at night or was on call at night or, that kind of thing. When I was up in Colorado, I plowed snow. I had to get up at 4 a.m. for that. But for the most part, I do more stuff in the afternoons and evenings than I do during the early part of the day. I'm just not a morning person, and I wish I was, because I like, on those rare occasions when I'm actually wake up early and get up early and see the day get started, I love it. But I'm more of a sunset kind of guy than I am a sunrise kind of guy. And so that's why I tend to do some of these streams later. That's why we don't eat supper till 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night and that kind of thing. Mel, thank you for that. I'm sure they're fine. But anyway, we'll find out. Nope. See, everything is good. They are dropping off a friend. I don't know who lives right there where they're going, but either way, that works okay. Chance, good night, brother. It was the other side of Liberty Garden. Thank you, brother. I appreciate all y'all being here. I really do. I really truly enjoy hanging out with all of y'all and exchanging funny stuff and exchanging information and hopefully maybe passing along some good information to each other that will help us out, help us make it through whatever's coming. I think we all have that feeling that there is something coming, something not good coming, and I truly hope that we can all be ready for it. So with that, I will say good night to everybody. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each of you. I really and truly do. So I'll scan through the comments here, let everybody say good night that wants to, and we'll call it good at that point. So, Mel, thank you for that. And I will do that, Tibor. Hugs for sure. Hugs for sure. So, good night, everybody, and thank you again. Thanks for being here with me.